We're going to do things a little bit different today. This is going to take a little bit longer than our normal runtime on materials. This is going to take probably about a half hour, 40 minutes. It's a really detailed image that we're going to be working with today. So what we're going to do is just kind of walk through the actual setup of the monument, getting it inside the machine. I've already got the file prepped, so we'll get that downloaded and started. And then while it's running, we'll actually kind of backtrack, and I'm going to work kind of backwards and show you guys how to create the file that we're actually working with. Now, if you're doing monuments here, you're going to want a few things on hand here. One of the things you're going to want is a nice level, a China marker or a wax pencil, along with a ruler or a tape measure. So the first thing that I want to do is actually want to get my monument on top of my carriage cart here. And then I like to use my level here just to make sure that I'm level. This is just going to help with getting things focused in on the machine here. The next thing we're going to do is actually measure out and make some witness marks here based off the center of my monument. I'm going to lay this out here. And what we're going to be doing is a 24 by 16 slant SERP top here. So I'm going to measure out at my 12-inch mark here. 12 and 12. Actually, we're just a little bit over 24. There we go there. All right. So now that I've kind of got this measured out, I've got my witness mark for bottom center here. We're going to go ahead and slide it in the machine and get focused. All right, so in order to get focused, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of take my laser head to the center of the machine, or my material here, and go ahead and crank up my lift cart. I'm going to kind of get that in range here. And we'll go ahead and check our focus. And I'm a little low, so I'm just going to adjust my laser head here. There we go. So then, as always with large projects, we want to make sure that we're checking all four corners here. A little low there, so we're going to raise our back left side. Look good. We'll come to the front left. A little too much. There we go. The front right. Some small adjustments here. High. All right, we'll just go check our other ones now that we've made some adjustments on our leveling legs here. Just to make sure everything's still looking good. All right, now that we're in focus, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that my monument is actually lined up straight. So I'm going to come to the bottom edge here. On this side. All right, you're looking good there. So I'm going to come to the bottom center here. I'm going to go ahead and lock my origin in. And then we're going to jump over to the computer here real quick, and I'm going to show you guys what our image is going to be and what we're going to be working with today. All right. So I thought it would be kind of a fun thing to do. We've lost a lot of celebrities here in less than a month. So I kind of wanted to lay something out here. So we've got Betty White here, we got Sidney Poitier, Louis Anderson, and Bob Saget. We got a nice background here. So again, I'm going to go ahead and get this downloaded and we'll get this working. So here's my already ready to go file here. So I'm going to come up to Config, System Settings. Change my laser head to the bottom center. We'll double click on our speed and power settings here. So I'm running a speed of 28, and I know personally my machine that we're working with here is a little bit, runs a little bit hotter. So I've kind of got my power dropped down a little bit more. We're running a 28 max and a 16 min. Now, one of the reasons that I'm kind of doing the min-max thing is because we got a lot going on here. We got some clouds in the background, and just dialing that min power down just slightly will help give a nice transition. We're going to be running an interval of a 0.0067 or 150 dpi image. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK, and we're going to download. Now, just so everybody knows, we are using a 2-inch lens here on our 100-watt laser machine. All right, our file is downloaded. So I'm going to go ahead, go back over to our machine here real quick. We're going to hit origin just to double check, make sure that we're in our correct spot. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit frame. All right. We're looking good there, so I'm going to go ahead and close my lid here. And we'll hit start to get engraving. All right, so now let's get over to the fun stuff here on how we created this file. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this here. And this is the layout that we had here. So we're going to go start a new screen here. Start a new tab. Call this one our full monument. Our background color we're going to be using is going to be black. Let's switch that. And then our size is 24 by 16. Now, typically when it comes to monuments, what I personally like to do is I like to make that just a little bit bigger than my actual monument is. Monuments, even on a standard size, can vary slightly, and so you don't want to get stuck where you're leaving a little bit of extra on the side there. Now, this does increase the runtime just a little bit, and there'll be a little bit of an overhang there. And if you've got something that's kind of tapered, and that you don't want engraved on your monument, what I would suggest doing is actually taking some masking tape and masking that part off. Again, doing it this way just kind of ensures that we're not going to have any empty spots left to right, top to bottom here. So our monument is 24, so we're going to actually make that 24.5. You can dial that down a little bit more if you would like. And then height is 16, and we're just going to go just slightly a bit above that and do maybe 16.25. Again, we're doing photographs, so I typically run all my photographs at 150 DPI, and we'll go ahead and hit OK. All right. So I'm going to go over to my right-hand side Docker and select my objects here. If you can't get to your Dockers here, or they're not there, you can always go up to Window, down here to Dockers, and then add them in here. The first thing that I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and bring in my background. So I'm going to go to File and Import. And our full monument here. So we got this nice kind of cloudy picture. Now for your background here, it doesn't really matter where you're putting this at. If it overhangs a little bit, that's perfectly fine. When we export out of Corel Photo Paint, we are only going to take what is inside the working area, nothing else. So just letting that overhang kind of helps out a little bit. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bring in my template for my slant here. This template will be available to download on our AP Lazer University site. So File and Import. And here's my template here. Now, this template should be basically used as kind of a guideline, okay? With all monuments here, it can vary as far as the points go. Okay, so how this curves down here may vary from monument to monument. This is more or less of just kind of a guideline to kind of position things out, make sure that I'm staying well away from my crest here and from the bottom and the edges. Go ahead and size that up correctly. So we're going to do 24 by 0.5 by 16.25. And I've got my lock ratio unlocked, so that's going to allow me to adjust these individually. And we select our align and distribute, and just make sure that we're centered in on our page here. There we go, just like that. All right. Now, if I want to see this background above this, I can select my object 2 or my template, and I can actually slide that down. And then with my marquee on, I can see the shape right here. All right. So for right now, I'm just going to turn my background 2 off. My background 3 here, this black one, came in with my my template here. So I'm just going to delete that one. And then we're going to double click and name this our template. So the next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and start bringing in our other files here. So I'm going to come up to, I'm going to go turn those 2 off there. File and Import. And so I've got all my images set here, ready to be brought in. So we're going to start with Miss Betty White here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring her in. Turn my black background off so I can see kind of where we're sitting at here. Now, this is where it's going to get really important. We're going to be bringing in about 8 different photos, 9 if you count our background, 10 if you count our template. So this is where it's always important to name these layers. That way you can quickly identify them and go to them as you need. So our background 3, we're going to say, well, this one, our young Betty. And then I'm going to go ahead and bring in my next image. Minimize this one, and we're just going to call this one Betty. And Bob. If I can get my fingers to work here. There we go. Louis, and just two more here. All right, so now that we've got all of our images in here, we've got them all labeled. You can kind of see I just kind of move them around and just kind of place them. So we're just going to shift them a little bit around, kind of get our basic layout here. And we can resize and shift around. So just to simplify things a little bit, I'm doing a lot of different design works. Instead of doing like a cutout or anything like that, what I'm going to do is just go ahead and create some masks around them, and we're just going to use the mask function. So over on my left-hand side toolbar, right underneath my pick tool, I'm going to go ahead and hit my little sub-menu, that little black triangle at the bottom right. Select my ellipse mask, and we're just going to start over here with Miss Betty White. Just draw kind of a halo here. Just Sydney out of my way. And then right below my masking tool is my mask transform tool. So if I click on this, this is what it allows me to adjust my mask sizes, positioning, anything like that. Now be careful, what we don't want to do is we don't want to have our mask come up above our photo like so. What that can do is give you what I call a flat tire look. So we want to make sure that the mask is sitting well inside our area here. And then what I typically like to do with my masks is I like to do a nice feathered edge. This helps with blending in things. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is come up to mask, mask outline, and feather. So right now I'm showing where my mask is going. So I can tell it for direction if I want it on the inside, middle, outside, average. I'm going to select an inside, and you can kind of see this red haze around everything. This is just my view, so I can turn that on and off as I need it. All right, and we're going to do a curved We're going to come down off 40 for a little bit and do maybe a 30. Repositioner, look, that looks a little bit better. That way I'm cutting into the photo but not getting too far. And go ahead and hit OK. So the next thing I want to do is I'm going to come up to Object. I'm going to Clip Mask, Create from Mask. Now, I want to show you this because it's a very simple mistake that a lot of people do on accident. I'm about to do it right here. So if I do from mask, we see Sydney went away here. Part of the reason that happened is, if we look over on the right-hand side on our layers here, that is what I have selected there. So I'm going to go ahead and undo here. And then I'm going to come down to Young Betty, make sure that I have that one selected in order to do my mask. And now I'm going to go up to Object, Clip Mask, Create from Mask. Just like so. I'm going to continue on, so I'm going to go ahead and do this to each one. Now, I've already set my mask ahead of time when we adjusted Young Betty White here. So my mask should stay. So from here on, I should be able to just do my ellipse mask, adjust the size, and then go ahead and cut it, or clip it. So we're a little off there, just over a little bit. That one actually did not stay for me, so we're going to backtrack and add in our mask again. Mask outline, feather. Alright. Right tool, we're working with young Bob here. Some of these out of my way. Keep our mask outline again. Couple more to go here. All right, there we go there. So we can kind of position these guys using our pick tool over here in the left-hand side. We can kind of move them around where we need them, make them bigger or smaller. Just young Miss Betty White here. All right. Turn our background layer back on here, and I want to make sure my template is on. Again, we can see our object marquee here kind of showing us where those edges are. So what we want to do now is we kind of want to go through and we want to adjust each individual photo here. As you can see, these photos are all taken from different eras. There's different lighting going on, some indoor, some outdoor, black and white photo here. So we want to go through and actually manage each and every one of these. When I'm dealing with numerous photos like this, what I do like to do is I like to desaturate everything. So I like to drop out all the color and just kind of make it a black and white photo. So I'm going to go ahead and select each one of these and go ahead and come up to adjust and then desaturate. All right. While we're at it, we'll go ahead and do our background as well. All right. There we go. And again, this is just going to kind of help blend things in a little bit more. So what we're going to do next is we're just going to kind of walk through some of these individual photos, make some minor adjustments to them. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select young Betty, and I'm going to start working with her first. So one thing I'm going to do with this one here is I'm going to adjust my tone curve. And what I'm doing is I'm just trying to make this a little bit darker. You can see that the tone curve actually went ahead and made some adjustments for me. So I can either stick with those or I can hit reset and we can see how much lighter she became. Just going to darken this up just a little bit here. Okay. I always like to go through and use my effects tool to sharpen. So we're going to come over to the left-hand side toolbar, grab our little icon that kind of looks like a Q-tip there. And then up at the top left here is where I can bring up those different options on things that I want to do. So I want it to be a sharpen, and I'm just going to use a large, soft sharpen. So I can come through and I can start highlighting and sharpening some eyes, mouth. Now you can do this one or two ways. You can kind of click and drag, or my preference is just kind of go through and find areas and just kind of click and move and click and move. Come down here to Betty here, and I'm going to kind of do the exact same thing. I'm going to go to my tone curve, darken her up just a little bit, maybe just a little bit more. There we go. A little bit of my sharpening tool. I really like to use my sharpening tool focusing in on facial features. If you're doing someone a little bit younger, sometimes it's good to look for outside things, hair, clothing, jewelry, like I'm doing with Miss White here. Just to try to highlight some of those things. The more detail we can get out, the better. Over here to Mr. Sydney. I'm going to adjust my tone curve with him as well. I actually kind of want to go like him. That was kind of a dark photo. We're going to make him just a little bit brighter here. There we go. Again, use my sharpen tool here. Sure we get this tie so we can get some nice effects there. Move over to Mr. Bob Saget here. And really what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make these kind of all equal here. Louis, I think we want to make him just a little bit bigger. Our tone curve here. A little bit sharpen. Select young Mr. Bob here. All right. Now, one thing I want to do, or I like to do, is I like to add in a little bit of a drop shadow here. Now, because we have the clouds in the background, what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to go with a black drop shadow. What this is going to do is it's going to help separate our mask just a little bit, but still give us that nice blended effect. So we're going to start over here with Miss White again. Come to our left-hand side toolbar. We're going to select our drop shadow. I'm going to go ahead and just click and drag up. And our color set for white right now, I'm going to hit my drop arrow, select black. And I can just bring this in just a little bit more. We're going to select linear and outside. And then we can bring that feather up just a little bit, just like so. So as you can see, again, it just kind of adds in a little bit of a separation there. So we're not getting too much of a blended effect, especially with the clouds in the background. We're going to grab our pick tool and just keep on processing here. pick tool again. Go ahead and type in 50 because that's kind of what I have for everybody else here. Just like so. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and add in our text to go right across the middle here. So I'm going to grab my text tool on the left-hand side. Go ahead and increase my point size. And we're going to go ahead and select a font. Find something. I'll go with a nice bold font here. Increase the size on that. Oop. Backtrack here. Oop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a white font, and I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the photos here. I'm going to add in just a little bit of a black drop shadow behind it. Now I'm going to use a flat drop shadow. Actually, nope, don't want to use that one. Let's try a squared one. And onto the outside. And we'll increase our points. Again, what this is going to do is just kind of add in a little bit of a separation between the photographs and the background. I'm then going to come over and I'm going to grab my Align and Distribute tool, or docker here on the right-hand side, and just make sure that we're lined up even there. All right. And there's our images. I'm going to go ahead and make a save file. So we're going to go File, Save As, do a full monument. I'll go ahead and put this in my file folder here. All right. And then if we want to just double check to make sure everything is laying out the way we want it to, we'll go ahead and turn our template back, or our marquee on our template back on. There we go. So everything's looking like it's fitting in there nicely. Again, I'm making sure to stay away from the edges because, again, I don't know if these little dips here are going to match up exactly with the stone that I have. So again, this template is more of just kind of a guideline. I'm going to turn that one off with our marquee. And then we're going to go ahead and export this out as a Windows bitmap. I have the right one here. All right, so from there, what we're going to do is go ahead and minimize our Corel Photo Paint, and we're going to open up our Photograve here. Working in Photograve, we always work just left to right here. So we're going to go ahead and open up our image. I'm going to select my material. We want black granite and hit OK. Inside my interactive mode, I'm going to go ahead and adjust my DPI from 200 down to 150. We'll kind of take a look here. Now again, this is one of the reasons, like when I'm doing with numerous photos and things like that, I like to just kind of take this down. Make it a little bit easier for Photograve to translate it when we don't have any of those colors in there. We don't want to be fighting ourselves with this. So everything's looking pretty good here. I know just for some of these older photos here, I am going to just add in a little bit more extent. Typically I'm at a 7. I'm just going to change this just to a 9. Nothing too hard or anything like that. And it's just going to kind of highlight some of these edges around here, especially on some of these older photos, but with the newer ones, it's not going to make too much of a difference with. Go ahead and final process. All right, and then save our image. We want it to be engraved. We can leave it, because we already sent it out as a Windows BMP file or a bitmap. We can leave the Photograve supported images. All right. So now that that's done there, let's go ahead and let's take a peek at our monument. Let's see how this is humming along here. All right. We are almost done here. Everything looking pretty good so far. So while that finishes it up, we have probably another 10-15 minutes here. I'll be more than happy to start answering some questions for everybody. All right. Somebody's asking me, how do I get the marquee on? All right, so let me show you that real quickly here. Let me pull up my Corel Photo Paint. So the marquee is actually really simple. It's right up top here where I've got my mask marquee and then I've got my object marquee. So I can actually toggle those on and off. If you can't locate these here, you can come up here to, I believe it is, let me remember where it's at. Right here, under Objects, comes down if you got your Object Marquee right here. Or the quick key of Control, Shift, and H. Someone's asking, how am I getting the images all the same size? Some of those are short and wider, others are tall and thin. Do you ever set a marquee size? You can actually, when you're creating the masks themselves, they do have a size. So if you're looking to be the exact same size on every single one, you can actually just copy and paste those or just type those values in. Because I'm dealing with so many different types of photos, they came in different sizes, different shapes, some wide, some tall. I had to kind of adjust each one of these individually. Having somebody else ask me lining up the pictures for size and alignment. So alignment, again, I kind of with this scenario here, I did just kind of eyeball it, just as a general example here. You can use your alignment and distribute. You can also add in ruler lines in here to help you as well. I'm going to jump back to my computer here and I'll show you real quick how to do that. So you can actually come up here to View on your very top menu screen, and then you've got Rulers right here, which rulers will allow you to actually just click and drag, and you can bring things down that way as well. So if you know this is your baseline right through here, you can kind of set it up that way. You can actually bring in numerous of these, kind of like so. These aren't going to have any effect once you export out either. They're not going to be exported out with the image. So even if you leave them on, you hit export, you're perfectly fine. Or you can move them out of the way, or just select each line and hit delete. Having someone ask, what is the save for the photograph image? So that actually, I just leave the same. So with photograph or photograve, when you're working with photograve, depending on the type of image that you're bringing in. So BMPs are engrave only files. So when I export it as a BMP, it's staying with that format. So I can just leave it strictly as a photograve supported format. Other images types that you can bring into photograve are like JPEG, PNG, and so forth. Now with those files there, you would want to go at the end when it's asking for the file type, you would want to switch that to a BMP from there. I'm having somebody ask me the engrave time on the stone. So this particular one here is taking us probably about a half hour, 45 minutes. Larger ones, you're looking at about an hour, hour and a half with those. All right, we are finished, just about finished up here, just that topmost part there. You guys have any more questions, please feel free to type them in. I'll try to get to them as soon as I can here. And again, if anybody ever has any questions over this process, any of our other processes in our videos, please feel free to give our tech support team a call, 844-364-8211. Any one of our technicians is going to be more than happy to point you in the right direction, explain anything. You guys, everyone is more than welcome to email me as well. I try to get back to everybody in a timely manner. Sometimes I'm zigzagged around, so it may take me a minute. But please feel free, shoot me an email with any questions. You can reach me at Jason, Jason, at aplazer.com. That is laser with a Z. Especially if anybody has anything they would like to see for future videos. I'm always up for suggestions. I'm more than happy to show you guys. I know we have some really exciting things coming along this next month, like stitching is one of the ones we're going to be doing, setting up a jig. So a lot of fantastic things coming in February. Oh, great. Somebody's asking a very great question here. You've seen some of these with color. So actually, we actually subcontract a lot of that out to an actual artist that comes in and adds in, hand paints everything. And what they'll do is they'll actually use a little bit of a hand etcher just to go into some of the lighter areas and dig a little bit deeper to help that paint absorb in there. But there are some fantastic artists out there that Quick Search can find you lots of them. I'll be more than happy to connect you in with our Supernova team to get some suggestions with them, as well as the person that comes in and does all of our painting. A lot of the ones that I do, I typically just use a little bit of white highlight paint, just any kind of acrylic paint like so. You can pick it up at Walmart. Patio furniture paint works very well also. Really any kind of enabled indoor-outdoor paint. All right, looks like we're done here. All right, let's go see our monument here. All right, we're gonna go ahead and lower this down. All right, we're a little bit dusty here. Light this back just a hair. All right, and there we be. Looks like we've got some great detail there. Frank, our loyal subscriber here, he's in all of our training classes. Frank, I always appreciate your feedback there. I did get your email about the portrait that you did as well. You did a fantastic job there, sir. Very nice work, and I apologize I didn't get a chance to respond to you yet. So if anybody else has any other questions or anything like that, please feel free to type it in here. We'll leave this open for a few more minutes. But again, I always appreciate all you guys joining us, being here with us. As you can tell, I thoroughly enjoy what I do. I really have fun showing you guys these things. Hopefully you find them informative and helpful. Pick up some tips and tricks here. So I do have somebody asking me, how do I price that? I'm not really the best person to probably ask about pricing. Again, if you have questions about pricing and things like that, I would probably contact like your sales individual, or please give our Supernova side of the business a call. They can kind of give you some guidelines with that. I do believe we have some marketing material as well on our AP Lazer University site that can kind of help you figure that out. If you're a member of our Facebook user group, that's a great question to ask within that group. A lot of helpful individuals there. I'm more than happy to give you suggestions and things like that. Oh, I've got somebody asking about our LaserCon event coming up in March, and some of the things that we're going to be doing there. I'm actually got a couple of nice fun projects. We're going to be doing some large projects. I am going to be there, so if you're able to attend, please, I would love to meet everybody in person. Please come over and see me. You got some materials, you got questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them in person as well. Ron, I hope to meet you as well, sir. And all right, well, you guys all have a great weekend. We'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Again, I appreciate y'all being here with us today. Appreciate you watching, and hopefully, again, you found it informative. And so until next week, you guys have a great day. Have a beautiful weekend. Bye, everybody.